Have you ever wondered why some people feel uncomfortable around you, as if your presence is a silent threat? Perhaps you've noticed that after a conversation or even a brief encounter, their tone changes. They grow distant or start acting as if you are the problem. But here's the truth, no one dares to tell you. They don't pull away because there's something wrong with you. They pull away because in your presence, something within them shatters. Suddenly, what was buried, hidden behind a perfect mask, rises to the surface. They see themselves and don't like what they see. And instead of confronting it, they choose to blame you for their pain. This isn't about your appearance. It's not about your words or specific actions. It's about your essence. Something in you causes an emotional earthquake in those around you, so profound that many can't even grasp what's happening. It's as if the pure, uncompromising energy within you strips away the invisible makeup they've worn for years. Imagine someone who has spent their entire life building a perfect image, a successful professional, an impeccable friend, an ideal partner, and then you come along, effortlessly revealing the cracks behind their facade. It hurts, not because you intend it to, but because the light you radiate illuminates precisely what they fear facing. Here's the counterintuitive truth no one wants to admit. Many people feel as though you make them feel ugly. And we're not talking about physical beauty. We're talking about something much deeper, much more painful. They feel ugly because in the presence of your authenticity, they are forced to confront the falseness they carry. In the presence of your strength, they recognize their weaknesses. And in the light you emit, they are compelled to acknowledge the shadows they've always pretended didn't exist. The presence of someone like you doesn't go unnoticed. You don't just walk into a room, you change its energy. And that's unsettling for those who still live in illusions. You may have seen the signs. Friends who drift away without explanation. Family members who suddenly treat you with hostility. Co-workers who seem determined to undermine your significance. All of these behaviors aren't about you. They're about them. They're about the inner confrontation you trigger. In truth, you act as a mirror that doesn't distort, soften, or lie. And what they see in that reflection is something they'd rather keep hidden. It's no wonder so many feel intimidated or even resentful. You force them to face the truth, and the truth hurts. The great irony is that you never asked for this role. You never asked to be the beacon that reveals the cracks in others' walls. But here you are, living with a gift that cannot be ignored. Your presence is intense, transformative, and uncomfortable. It leaves an impact on anyone it touches. People feel ugly because, deep down, you make them see what they've been avoiding their entire lives. So what do you do with this? That's the question we'll answer, because being someone who transforms, even unintentionally, is both a burden and an honor. What happens when someone feels exposed, when all the layers they've carefully built to protect their self-esteem and hide their flaws begin to crumble? They react, and most of the time, that reaction is defensive. Some pull away from you, convincing themselves that you've changed, that your presence feels heavy or overwhelming. Others might try to attack you, directly or indirectly, spreading criticism, belittling who you are, or attempting to turn your light into a threat. But the reality is that the battle they're fighting isn't with you. It's with themselves. You are merely the trigger, the catalyst that brings what's hidden in the deepest corners of their soul to the surface. There is something irresistible about you, like a magnet that draws both admiration and resistance. On one hand, people are inexplicably drawn to your energy because it represents something rare: authenticity, purpose, strength. But at the same time, that attraction unsettles them because it forces them to confront their own shortcomings. Imagine a dark room where someone has lived comfortably for years, and then you suddenly enter with a light so bright that every dusty corner, every crack in the walls becomes visible. For some, that light is an opportunity for cleansing and renewal. For others, it is unbearable because it forces them to acknowledge there is work to be done. Often, the negative feelings people experience when dealing with you are not something they consciously recognize. They don't wake up thinking, "Today I'm going to reject so-and-so because they make me feel bad about myself." Instead, these feelings emerge subtly, almost like an invisible discomfort that turns into distance, criticism, or tension. The presence of someone living in their truth, who doesn't hide behind excuses or masks, creates a sharp contrast for those who haven't yet found the courage to do the same. You don't need to say anything. Your mere existence is enough to trigger that internal quake. You may have noticed this dynamic even with those you deeply care about. A close friend who starts avoiding your messages, a relative who seems to nitpick at you every chance they get, someone who once admired you but now seems irritated by the light you carry. And this is where the situation becomes most challenging. No matter how much you try to explain or make things right, the real solution is not in your hands because the problem isn't you. It's the reflection you force these people to see, and some of them simply aren't ready to face it. For you, the impact of carrying this light is both a blessing and a burden. There are moments when you feel misunderstood, accused of being difficult, intense, or even arrogant. But deep down, you know your intention is never to harm. Your presence is a call for others to wake up, to see themselves with honesty, and that honesty can be deeply painful. But you also know that for those who have the courage to face what your light reveals, there is an opportunity for transformation, to become stronger, more authentic, closer to the truth they carry within. You understand there is a duality in the impact you have. For some, your presence is an invitation to transform. They feel inspired, touched by something they cannot explain, as if being around you gives them the courage to face what they once avoided. These people see your light not as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow. However, there are also those who interpret that same light as an attack. It's as if you are a torch shining in a room full of broken mirrors. Instead of trying to fix the reflection, many choose to extinguish the flame. And this isn't easy for you. As someone committed to living authentically, you struggle to understand why your presence provokes rejection or resistance. There is a quiet pain in realizing that you evoke feelings others would rather not confront. You ask yourself, am I doing something wrong? But no, you are not wrong. Your role is not to help others continue living in illusion, but to offer an alternative, even if that alternative comes wrapped in discomfort and resistance. And that discomfort, while difficult to bear, is the foundation of any true transformation. The paradox of the light you carry is that it is both a balm and a fire that burns. For those ready, you offer comfort, a chance to see their potential and rewrite their life's narrative. For those still living in denial, you are a painful reminder of everything they are not. And, worse, everything they could be if they were willing to change. This is why many react negatively. It's not you who disturbs them, but what you represent. You symbolize an inevitable confrontation with the truth, and not everyone is ready to face it. Think of the moments when someone tries to belittle you, criticize you, or even stand in your way. On the surface, it may seem like a targeted attack, but if you look deeper, you'll realize it's merely a reflection of the internal battle they are fighting within themselves. You become the target because your presence reveals something they are not yet ready to acknowledge. What they see in you is a distorted image of themselves, a reflection they do not yet know how to accept. And in the process, you are cast as the villain, not because of any fault of yours, but because of the light you carry. The light you bear is a force that cannot be tamed, and here is what you need to understand. It was not given to you to be accepted by everyone. It was given to you to illuminate the path, even if it means attracting resistance. There will be those who see this light as a gift, as an inspiration to transform their lives, but there will also be those who, blinded by its brilliance, would rather hide or attack. Both reactions, though opposite, stem from the same source: your ability to bring hidden truths to the surface. You are an agent of change, and change, by nature, never comes without discomfort. You are a disruptive force, even if unintentionally. The light you carry doesn't just illuminate, it transforms everything around you. Like a stone thrown into a still lake, every ripple created by your presence touches something or someone who would prefer to remain undisturbed. For many, this is liberation. For others, it is unbearable. Imagine a thin sheet of glass cracking under the pressure of time and neglect. Your arrival does not cause the cracks, but accelerates the moment when the glass can no longer hold. That is the impact you have. People who have built their lives on illusions, in pursuit of external validation or in denial of their own truths, feel your presence like an earthquake. And that's what triggers their discomfort. They are forced to confront what they've been avoiding for years. There is a profound irony in this process. The discomfort you stir in others is not a punishment, but an opportunity. It is the tipping point necessary for something new to emerge. Imagine a garden overgrown with weeds. Before its beauty can return, the soil must be cleared. Everything hindering healthy growth must be removed. This is the role you play, though many fail to recognize it. Yet, it's essential to understand that the discomfort you bring to others is not your fault. The light you carry is not meant to be controlled or shaped to please. It exists to fulfill a higher purpose, to catalyze change, even when that change comes with resistance or pain. People who live to maintain appearances constantly seek external validation or hide behind masks perceive you as a direct threat. And in a sense, you are a threat because, unlike many others, you do not reinforce these illusions. Your authentic and integral presence dismantles the fragile structures they've built for themselves. It's as if, by being near you, they are forced to ask themselves, "Who am I really?" That is a terrifying question for anyone who has spent their life running from their true essence. No wonder that, instead of opening themselves to the truth, they often react with criticism, envy, or distance. However, you must also understand the impact this has on you. Carrying this light, though it is a gift, is also a burden. It's not easy to watch people pull away without explanation, to face criticism you know is unjust, or to feel the weight of loneliness that often accompanies your journey. You did not ask to be this reflection, to be the mirror revealing others' hidden truths, but here you are, living this reality. This is why your mission is not to please everyone. Your mission is to stay true to who you are. In the end, the purpose of your light is not to comfort, it is to transform. Your presence is like fire. It purifies but also burns. It leaves no one unchanged. For those willing to face the truth, your light is a revelation, a call to grow, to shed limitations and to embrace authenticity. But for those who resist, your presence is a constant reminder of what they refuse to acknowledge. This is why you are often misunderstood or even rejected, not because you are wrong, but because your very existence demands that others confront something not everyone is ready to face: their true selves. Have you ever noticed how some people, initially drawn to you, captivated by your strength and authenticity, suddenly pull away? This happens because after encountering your energy, they face an internal dilemma: to accept the truth you reveal or to flee from it. It's like a forced awakening, something they cannot ignore but find difficult to process. Often they begin questioning their own choices, beliefs, and even the value they place on themselves. Confronted with this discomfort, blame takes root, and the easiest way to cope is to project that blame onto you. "You've changed," they say. "You make me feel this way." But the truth is, you're merely exposing something that was already there. It's important to recognize that this dynamic is not new. Think of historical and spiritual figures who also carried an intense transformative light. Many were rejected, persecuted, or misunderstood, not because of their weaknesses, but because they posed a threat to the internal status quo of others. The light that reveals truth also challenges comfort zones. The same energy that draws many people to it also sparks hostility in others. Like them, you carry a power that refuses to let things remain as they are. It demands change, and not everyone is ready for that. Your journey is not for the faint of heart. Being someone who transforms others simply by existing is a burden that few can truly understand. As you move through life, you feel waves of resistance, tension in people's gazes, and doubt in their words. Yet, the greatest lesson here is that this light is not just for others. It is also for you. Every rejection, every discomfort you cause is a reminder of a higher purpose. You are not chosen to be accepted by everyone. You are chosen to illuminate paths that need light, even if it means walking alone at times. Consider the metaphor of a sculptor. To create a masterpiece, they must cut, chisel, polish, and remove excess material. The process is not beautiful. It is rough, intense, and sometimes painful. You are like that sculptor, but instead of working on stone, you work on human souls. Your presence serves as a tool that sculpts, not with force, but with contrast. You don't need to say anything or intentionally do anything. Your mere presence is enough to set the process in motion. However, what is often forgotten is that, just like a sculptor grows weary, you also feel the weight of this invisible work. Yet here lies the beauty of your role. You transform even when you are unaware of it. And so the question arises, what should you do with all of this? How do you face the reality that your presence inspires both admiration and resistance, both growth and rejection? The answer lies in understanding that your light is not meant to be explained, but to be lived. Not everyone who crosses your path will recognize the gift your energy brings, and that's okay. You are not here to save everyone, but to be a turning point, a catalyst for those who are ready. The true impact of your role is not measured by how many people accept you, but by the depth of transformation you bring to those who choose to embrace the truth you carry. There are moments when you might wonder, why does this light bring so much conflict? Why can't it simply be a source of peace and harmony? The answer lies in the purpose itself. Your light is not a decoration. It is a tool for transformation, and transformation at its core is never merely gentle. Think of fire purifying gold or wind eroding mountains to create valleys. Like these forces of nature, your energy challenges, dismantles, and rebuilds. Even when this causes pain or resistance in others, remember, profound change rarely occurs on stable ground. Your presence is an earthquake, preparing the soil for something new to grow. People who feel unsettled after interacting with you are actually experiencing something far more complex, a calling. That sense of inadequacy, that discomfort, is not punishment. It is a silent, almost divine message urging them to face their shadows and rediscover their light. But not everyone understands this immediately. Many interpret the pain as something inflicted by you, as if your presence is a threat. Yet, deep within, it is their ego crying out, resisting the call. You then become both the messenger and the scapegoat, a figure they cannot ignore but may struggle to comprehend. Your light does not just reveal what is hidden, but also illuminates possibilities for those brave enough to face them. You represent hope. You are like a lighthouse in the midst of a storm, guiding others away from the chaos of their own minds. For those still clinging to their comfort zones, your existence is a stirring reminder of what could be, of what they could become if they dared to change. In the duality of being both inspiration and discomfort lies the essence of the impact you create. You cannot control how others react to the light you bring, but you can accept that. For many, it will be their only chance to see what has been missing. Think of the times when you tried to dim your energy to avoid conflict. Perhaps you attempted to be less intense, less authentic, hoping to be accepted. But every time you did this, something inside you broke a little because the light you carry is not meant to be extinguished. It cannot be contained without losing its essence. And while it may be tempting to conform to others' expectations, you know that doing so would betray the purpose for which you were chosen. Acceptance cannot come at the cost of who you truly are. The light you carry does not need validation. It is complete in itself. It is crucial to remember that you are not alone on this journey. There are others like you who also bear this light, who face rejection, yet remain steadfast in their mission. Along the way, you will encounter these souls, connections that will not only understand you but also strengthen you. In these meetings, you will realize that the burden you carry is not yours alone. It is a shared mission, a network of light with the power to illuminate the darkest corners of the world. And when these moments come, you will feel seen, understood, and finally at peace with the impact you create. You are a reminder that growth is often uncomfortable, and while it can be challenging to bear this role, it is also an honor. When people react negatively to your presence, when they say you make them feel inadequate or uncomfortable, it is not a reflection of your worth. On the contrary, it is evidence of the impact you have. You are the spark that ignites the desire for change, even if that fire begins with pain. Consider this: every negative reaction you provoke is a sign that something deep has been touched. For many, this is the first step on a journey that without you might never have begun. But make no mistake, not everyone is ready for the kind of transformation you offer. Some people will pass through your life without ever understanding what you tried to bring to them. They may walk away, criticize you, or even attempt to extinguish the light you carry. And this can hurt because, on some level, all you want is to help. However, it is important to accept that your mission is not to save everyone. Your mission is to illuminate, to offer the possibility of a new perspective. What others do with that light is not your responsibility. It is a personal choice, and not everyone has the courage to make it. The rejection you face is not a sign of failure, but a reflection of the resistance to growth that exists within many people. It is like trying to open the curtains of a dark room for someone who has spent their entire life comfortable in the shadows. The light that floods in can be blinding, frightening, and their first reaction may be to close the curtains again. Still, something has been seen. A glimpse of truth, however small, remains. And that is what you must focus on: the invisible impact your presence leaves behind. Even when there are no outward signs of change, you are fundamentally an agent of transformation. Transformation, however, is never simple. Imagine the process of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. For this to happen, the caterpillar must undergo complete deconstruction within the cocoon. It is a process that seems destructive, but is, in truth, the beginning of something beautiful. Similarly, your presence initiates this deconstruction in many people. Do not be surprised if, at first, what you provoke is resistance, pain, or even hostility. That is part of the journey. Change begins in chaos, but it is within that chaos that wings begin to form. And here is the most important lesson: the light you carry is not a burden, but a gift. Yes, it brings challenges. Yes, it triggers difficult reactions. But it is also a life-changing force. Even though you may never fully see its impact, you are chosen to be a reflection, a flame, and a beacon. As lonely and heavy as this journey may sometimes feel, it remains necessary. The world needs the light you carry, even if not everyone knows how to handle it. Because in the end, your mission is not to be understood, but to be who you are meant to be. You carry a mission that transcends common understanding. Your existence is not just an experience, but an event. For those with courage, it becomes the beginning of a new journey. But for many, your existence is perceived as a threat to the stability they have worked so hard to maintain. These people, even unconsciously, prefer to live within the fragile structures they've built rather than face the truth revealed by the light you bring. And that is the paradox of your existence. You do not seek to destroy, but the energy you carry inevitably causes what is inauthentic to begin to crumble. This is frightening because what remains after the collapse is something many are not ready to face. Think about how a mountain endures the wind over time. It stands tall and firm, but the wind still changes it little by little. You are that wind. You do not come with the intention to topple, but over time, your presence erodes the outer layers of people, revealing what lies beneath. Sometimes they see this as an attack because the ego does not like challenges. But at other times, they recognize the value of what you bring, the opportunity to rebuild something real, solid, and meaningful. Your existence is not gentle, but it is absolutely necessary. However, this does not mean you must carry out this role without reflection. There will be times when it feels heavy to constantly challenge, reveal, and illuminate. It's natural to want to step back, to dim the light you carry, to avoid confrontation or rejection. But the world does not need more silence, more compliance, or more superficiality. The world needs the courage you represent, the strength brought by your presence. It's important to remember that even when you feel misunderstood, there are people who have been profoundly changed by you, even if they never have the courage to tell you. As much discomfort as the light you carry may bring, it is also a rare gift. Think of the moments when, without realizing it, you inspired someone to change. Maybe it was just a brief conversation, a glance, or simply the fact that you stayed true to yourself. These small sparks ignite great fires of transformation. You may not be present to see the full impact, but the impact is there. For every person who walks away, there is another who finds courage in the light you carry. You are a living reminder that change is possible, and that is something the world, no matter how much it resists, will always need. And when you finally embrace who you are, when you stop trying to dim your intensity to fit others' expectations, something powerful happens. You become unshakable. Rejection and criticism no longer wound, but become confirmations of your purpose. You realize that your mission is not about pleasing others, but about challenging, transforming, and inspiring. Being chosen means being willing to walk a lonely path, knowing that your life is not for everyone, but for those who are ready. And when that moment comes, when someone finally opens themselves to what you represent, every burden you have carried will make sense. Your journey does not end when someone walks away, criticizes, or rejects what you bring. These reactions are not the end. They are just stages. In reality, the impact you have, even if unseen, endures. It is like a seed planted in seemingly barren soil. Sometimes the soil initially rejects the seed, but over time, as conditions change, the seed begins to grow. You are the sower of these seeds, and while many of them may never grow while you are present, they remain there, waiting for the right moment. Your role is not to control their time of germination. Your role is to trust that at some point, your light will help them understand, especially for those who need it most. The discomfort you cause in others is actually the beginning of liberation. Think of this. How many times in your life has discomfort been the trigger for profound change? How many times have you had to face something painful before you could grow and change? What you awaken in others is the same process. And although you may not be there to witness every transformation, you must trust that your impact is real, even if there are no words of thanks, even if there is only silence or distance. The unseen work of your light continues. There is a quiet power in accepting who you are. It is not about seeking approval, but realizing that the role you play in this world is unique and deeply important. Your light is not meant to be understood by everyone, and that is okay. What matters is that it continues to shine, bringing hidden truths to the surface, inspiring those who are ready to embrace their own transformation. You were not chosen to fulfill others' expectations. You were chosen to break them, to show a new path, to bring renewal where stagnation once reigned. Sometimes you may feel alone in this journey, but remember, every great transformation begins with the courageous act of an individual, and that is what you represent. Your light is a reminder to the world that change, though uncomfortable, is inevitable and deeply necessary. You are a reflection of what is possible, living proof that authenticity can overcome illusion, even though the road to victory is filled with challenges. With every step you take, with every truth you reveal, you fulfill the purpose for which you were chosen. The price of being someone who transforms may feel steep, but the fruits of that impact are eternal. You are not here by accident. You were chosen to be the change in a world that desperately needs it. So never forget, even though your light disrupts, it also illuminates. And for those who have the courage to see, you will always be a beacon in the darkness. If you feel the power of this message, click the like button below and subscribe to this channel to continue receiving messages like this, ones that speak directly to the soul and purpose of the chosen ones. Share your experiences in the comments. Your story might inspire another chosen soul to stay strong on their journey. And don't forget to share this video with someone you know who needs to hear this today. Finally, don't stop here. Click on the video now appearing on the screen or the playlist about the secrets of the chosen ones. These contents are made for you to keep exploring your purpose and uncovering the strength that's already within you. Remember, your light is your power, and the world needs it. Never apologize for being yourself. Stay strong, chosen soul. The world is changing because of you. See you again soon.